What if everything you thought was just acting wasn't acting at all? What if the truth has been hiding in the smallest moments? The pauses, the glances, the silence. Because when Song Weilong looks at Zhao Jinmai, something shifts. And fans around the world are starting to feel it. There are moments in the entertainment world that feel carefully crafted, controlled, perfectly rehearsed. And then there are moments that slip through the cracks. Moments that no script can hold. This story begins in those quiet, almost invisible seconds when cameras are rolling, but no one expects anything extraordinary to happen. A simple interview, a shared stage, a routine behind-the-scenes clip. Nothing dramatic, nothing loud, but something felt different. Fans didn't notice it all at once. It wasn't a headline. It wasn't a viral explosion overnight. It was slower than that, more subtle, like a feeling you can't explain, but you can't ignore either. When Song Weilong sat beside Zhao Jinmai, there was a shift in his presence. Not obvious, not exaggerated, but real. His usual composure softened. His expressions became quieter, warmer. And then came the detail that fans couldn't stop talking about. The way he looks at her. Not a glance, not a casual look. A gaze that lingers just a second longer than it should. As if time slows down, even if only for him. And that's where everything begins to change. Because acting can create chemistry, but it cannot replicate consistency. And what fans started noticing was not a single moment. It was a pattern. At first, people tried to explain it logically. They're co-stars. They're professionals. It's part of the job. And yes, that's true. Actors are trained to build connection, to create emotion, to make audiences believe in something that may not exist beyond the screen. But here's the part that feels different. Because when Zhao Jinmai speaks, Song Weilong doesn't react the way others do. He doesn't interrupt. He doesn't turn it into humor. He doesn't redirect attention. He listens. Not politely, not professionally, but attentively, deeply. His eyes remain fixed on her, as if every word matters more than the moment itself. And in those seconds, something shifts again. His expression softens. His posture relaxes. There's a quiet sense of focus, the kind that doesn't belong to performance. And then, there's her, Zhao Jinmai, known for her calm and composed demeanor, begins to show something different too. Around him, she seems lighter, more open. Her laughter, it changes. It becomes less restrained, more genuine. And that's the kind of detail that's impossible to script repeatedly. Because authenticity reveals itself in variation, not perfection. And fans? They notice everything. But the real turning point didn't come from interviews. It came from moments that weren't meant to be analyzed. Behind-the-scenes clips, candid footage, unfiltered interactions. The kind of content that usually fades into the background. Except this time it didn't. Because what fans found there was consistency. Small gestures, repeated patterns. Song Weilong adjusting something on Zhao Jinmai's outfit without being asked, guiding her gently through a crowded space, subtly positioning himself closer, as if creating a quiet sense of protection. Nothing dramatic, nothing performative, and yet everything felt intentional. Because these weren't one-time moments. They happened again and again and again, across different days, different settings, different moods. And that's when the question began to grow louder. Can something like this really be faked? Because acting requires awareness, timing, control. But these gestures, they felt instinctive, unconscious, like reactions that come from feeling, not from thought. And perhaps the most telling part was how natural everything looked when they weren't trying. The quick glances, the shared smiles, the comfortable silence. Moments where nothing was said, but everything was understood. As more clips surfaced, fans began to compare. Not out of curiosity, but out of instinct. They looked at how Song Weilong interacts with other co-stars. And what they found was subtle, but undeniable. He is always kind, always respectful, always professional. But with Zhao Jinmai, there is something softer, a quiet attentiveness that stands apart. The way he leans slightly toward her, the way he remains present, even in chaotic environments, the way his energy seems to shift effortlessly. And then there's the silence. Because sometimes the most powerful moments are the ones without dialogue. Standing side by side, no pressure, no awkwardness, just ease. The kind of comfort that doesn't come from acting, the kind that builds over time, through trust, through familiarity, through something deeper. And yet, despite everything fans have observed, there is still no confirmation, no statement, no explanation, just silence. And strangely, that silence speaks the loudest, because not everything real needs to be announced. Some things are protected by being unspoken. So now the question lingers. If something truly exists between Song Weilong and Zhao Jinmai, why keep it hidden? Maybe the answer isn't complicated. Maybe it's simply human. Because once something becomes public, it changes. Expectations grow, pressure builds, and what was once natural becomes something else entirely. So perhaps the quiet is intentional, not to deny, but to protect. And fans seem to understand that. They're no longer demanding answers. They're not chasing confirmation. They're watching, feeling, connecting the dots in their own way. Because what they see isn't loud. It's not dramatic. It's not staged. It lives in the pauses, in the glances, in the energy that shifts when two people stand close to each other without saying a word. And maybe that's why it feels so real. Because the truth doesn't always need to be spoken. Sometimes it's already there, quietly, waiting to be felt.